All right, guys, here is the next lesson here. We are now at the part where it is what I like to call the money section. It's literally how we're going to do this, right? How are we going to solve this problem? What are we going to do? What's the action plan? How is this going to go down? So this is pretty much the make or break section of the essay. So if you haven't been paying attention, this is where you want to take notes. So this is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to write and organize this part of the paper. And it's as you can see, there's not that many slides here because it's really a lot of thinking and considering and maybe even talking it out with your friends or with your work colleagues or with your fellow students. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a discussion board for you to talk to your fellow students about, your possible solutions to your problem. So you can run it past your fellow students, and they can hopefully put holes in it. The more holes, the better, because that way you can literally think about whether it's a feasible solution, and that way you will have a stronger paper. Okay, this is what you're going to need for this particular lesson. You're going to need, of course, your Writing Today book, because again, I am following the chapter, the proposal essay chapter, so you're going to want to go through it, make notes as we go along, make notes where you want to take some time and read, or maybe not. Maybe this is all you need, right? And of course, pen and paper for notes, because that will help you. Also, as I've said many times, the modules close. They open when they open and they close when they close. So after week 5 is week 6, and you're still kind of in the throes of writing, and you may want to reference something in one of these lessons, and you won't be able to get to them because number 5 will be closed. Okay, going next. So a quick review. This is what you've learned. You've learned to organize the introduction, organize the problem analysis section, which is the biggest section. I think it's the biggest section, and the most involved section, in that your research goes in there. Most of your research goes in there. Some research can go in the current section that we're talking about. You also learned the difference between sections versus paragraphs. And so this is one of those sections that will have multiple paragraphs as well, because I will show you the structure. So let's review the overall outline of this paper. You know, it will have an introduction, it will have a problem analysis section, it will have a plan for solving the problem section, it will have benefits of the plan, and a conclusion. So it'll have 5 sections, and at least 2 of them will have multiple paragraphs in those sections, right? All right, so really what this part is the most detailed plan that you can possibly think of. So this is the part where you are literally showing the reader, i.e. me, step by step how to solve this problem. So in the lesson before, we talked about what the major causes are and what the effects are. Now we're talking about how to solve that. And you want to go step by step. You do not want to leave anything out of turn. So that means that by far, even though it may not be as research heavy as the last section, this will be time heavy, because this is where you're going to spend most of your time thinking, considering, crafting, questioning things. You'll ask, will this work? Well, if I do this, how is that going to impact this other thing? Is this necessary? Does it go far enough? Those are questions that you're going to want to ask yourself. So by far, this is the part that's going to probably take the longest, because you really have to consider it. Thankfully, we're working with theory, but you want to get as close to actuality as possible. You don't want to do a thing where it's like, oh, well, I think, that colleges should make students more aware of the resources for mental illness. Say if that's what's your topic, right? Mental illness on college campuses. Okay, well, first, um, rule one, raise awareness is not a solution. And number two, well, how are you going to do that? See, this is where the nitty gritty comes in. So you want to make sure that your solution is based on sound research. Um, and this is the make or break part of your essay. Your essay can be made or broken on this section alone. Um, because if you are doing this at the last minute and you're just like, say, if you say, I'm just going to throw a plan together and hopefully it works, um, you won't pass. And that's just clear as day. You won't pass because the whole purpose of the essay is to consider a solution to a problem. Okay? Okay. So planning to solve all problems. Okay, brainstorming is key here, and it was key in the last section, but it's also key in this section. Brainstorming was key in the last section because you wanted to be able to pick and choose what causes you wanted to solve. It is key, brainstorming is key here because you're literally thinking how to solve those causes, and it's not a let's sit down for 10 minutes and think about it. It is a sit down for 10 minutes and let's walk away and let's talk to people, see if they think it's feasible, look up some things. Oh, it may not be feasible. Sit down 10 more minutes, rethink some things. That's why brainstorming is very key here before you even get to the nitty gritty. You can use, of course, a concept map, and I'm going to show you an example of a concept map that will help you brainstorm here, or you can actually just use the list of possible solutions. And of course, you're going to pick the best, most feasible ones. Again, feasible is the big word of the day. So let's look at a concept map here. It's very similar to the last concept map from the last lesson. So you're going to have a solution, say the solution for mental illness on campus is that you want to work on the solution for maybe negative attitudes of mental illness, right? So maybe a major step is a social media campaign. Maybe a major step is having someone on campus, a celebrity, and not a big celebrity because we can't get Beyonce, but maybe we can get someone else, right? Or maybe the mayor, or maybe a senator, or maybe whoever, someone high up, to talk about mental illness. Maybe there is a lesson in every English class about mental illness. So see how we have solution here? And so we have we have a solution. Maybe we use one of the solutions as as uh, as bringing someone in who is really high up in the stratosphere. Maybe it's a mayor or a council person or a senator or someone to talk about who has mental illness, who talks about their trials and tribulations in mental illness, right? So maybe that's the solution, right? To raise awareness, and I'm putting that in quotation marks because you will not use that in your paper. Please do not do that. And so major step one, how do you do that? Well, first you research who's got a mental illness, right? Major step two, you may want to reach out, find out who to talk to, send them an email, send them a video chat. Major step three, see if the campus will help you reach out to those people, right? So it's one of those things, right? You have many solutions. You pick one of those solutions, and you go and you think step by step, how is this going to happen? Like the smaller steps here. Say if it's a big step, like maybe we contact a senator who is maybe bipolar and is learning to govern with bipolarism or being bipolar. What does that look like, right? So maybe the first step is, reaching out to him. So how do you reach out to him? The little baby steps could be looking up his email on the website. How about them apples, right? Or calling him up, finding out what the phone number is, calling up his legislative aide. Maybe another step is talking to someone at the college that could help you put this thing together, right? And so you have these little baby steps that go towards the major step, and that's super important because that shows that you're literally thinking through the big stuff. So let's talk very quickly about organizing and drafting. There's not much under organizing and drafting because pretty much we've talked about that in some way, shape, or form. We've talked about kind of how to think about these big or the solutions and the major how-tos and how to do point by point, how to get it to work. So that's a big chunk of it. So let's talk about this structure, which you're probably going to want to maybe freeze this. This is actually in the book too, so you may want to flip to the page where this is at as you're writing. So this particular section has 5 paragraphs at least, just like the other one. So you're going to have many paragraphs in here. And again, this is not going to be big chunky paragraphs. These are going to be smaller paragraphs, right? You're going to get to it. So that means every word works. You know, every word is needed. You have to make every word work, right? You only got 5 pages. I know. So, okay, so section opening that states your solution to the problem. So you're going to introduce it by saying, and so the solution to mental illness on college campuses is getting more people to understand what mental illness is while giving more support for students with mental illnesses on campus, right? So major step 1 is, you bring the senator with bipolar disorder to campus. Step 2, I know I talked before about an app. You create an app where students can get information without the stigma of it, right? And step 3, whatever that is. And you talk about the little minor steps here. This is how we're going to do this app. This is how we're going to get this senator on campus. This is how we're going to do this, And then you close by summarizing the plan. And thus, we are going to make it easier for students on campus with mental illness by doing this, 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 and this, right? It's very, very quick, but I don't want you to hear quick and think I don't need details. I do need details. I don't want you to be verbose, right? And that's going to be the challenge. Okay, so let me talk about each paragraph, right? So really this section is about the how and the why. How we're going to do this and why we're doing it. So the opening paragraph, brief, tell the solution, why it's the best solution. Body paragraphs, tell the reader step by step how you would carry out your plan. Each paragraph starts with a topic sentence. Hint, hint, do not start a paragraph without a topic sentence, please. Please. And it states 1 major step, so that means that each paragraph has 1 major step only. Don't put 3 major steps in 1 paragraph and call it a day. 1 step, 1 major step per paragraph. Then you have the closing paragraph. You want to summarize by listing what happened and what the reader will receive once the plan is carried out. And therefore, we will begin to erase the stigma of mental illness on campus by doing this awesome plan that we thought about, right? So those are the paragraphs. Hope this is helpful, and I will see you in the next lesson.